Right, so I just spent the last weekend reviewing over 100 gym ads. Now, a lot of people might say that I need a better hobby, but the reason that I did this is I want to be running better gym ads for our clients, which are gyms. So I did a deep dive into the ads library to look at what other people were doing, see if I could learn anything, see if there was things that I should perhaps be doing that I'm not, and yeah, just become a better marketer and be able to advertise my clients' gyms better. So whilst I was doing this, I took a note of every single ad that I was looking at. I spoke briefly about what they were doing in terms of offer, messaging, creative, copy, all of that kind of stuff. I put all of my notes into AI and I asked it to look for any common traits amongst all of these ads. And of the ads that were running for over a month, so we can assume that they're profitable because no one's going to be paying for ads that aren't profitable, there were 5 common traits in these ads that have been running for at least over a month. So we're going to share them with you, and if you're not currently using them in your own ads, then you might want to think about implementing these strategies because obviously it seems to be working based off the analysis that I've just done. Another thing to note, that a lot of these ads I thought just weren't that good, okay? They looked rushed, they looked a bit sloppy, things weren't thought about. So this should be good news for you if you are thinking about using paid ads to advertise your gym, because in some areas the competition is very low. So it's not going to take a lot of expertise or knowledge to be able to outperform your competitors because, like I say, in some areas the bar is very low. So the first trait that we found in these successful ads, or the ads that were running for a while, were a very strong and clear offer. So there are 2 styles of offers that I kept on running into. So the first style of offer that I kept on seeing come up were 6, 12, sometimes even 18-week transformation challenges. These are used quite a lot, but they obviously work. I think because there's a very clear goal and they're time bound, people like to invest in these short stints of high intensity. It's very structured and they can go to gyms for that. But the other style of offer, which I didn't see used as often but I think could also be very effective, was this. People took a very specific outcome, they lowered the barrier to entry to get that outcome, and they also added some kind of urgency. So I actually took a note of one of the offers that I like the look of, and it was this: lose 5 pounds in 2 weeks or get your money back. Now, I thought that this was a very, very good offer, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, the goal is very specific: lose 5 pounds. Everyone can understand what that is. And people that are in the market of trying to lose weight and pay people to help them on that journey, they're going to be enticed by this because that's the start of their weight loss journey. And it's also very time bound because it's 2 weeks, but it's not a huge prolonged period like 6 to 12 weeks. So the financial investment into this might be quite low, but also the time investment is also quite low. So for those people that just want to dip their toe in the water and see what it might be like, 2 weeks is a good amount of time to see if it will fit with their schedule, they enjoy the trainer, they enjoy the location, all of these kind of things. And the fact that if they don't reach this goal within 2 weeks, they get their money back. All these people are going to waste, it's maybe a little bit of time. So if you're constantly running challenge or transformation package programs and you're looking for something a bit fresh that might actually get people to sign up for a rolling monthly fee rather than just doing 12 weeks and then never seeing you again for another year, then this might be a good way of getting people in. Trait number 2 that we found were the focus on emotional hooks rather than any sort of focus on features of the service. So a lot of the ads that were running for a while used emotional triggers, so problems that their ideal customers are dealing with right now, or the goals that their ideal customers want to achieve. What they weren't doing is focusing on how many classes they run, what their opening hours are, how qualified their PTs are. And I think what this boils down to is people are buying results. People are buying a change in their life. They're not buying a gym membership. So we need to leverage these drivers, these emotional drivers that are pushing them to make a change. So things like the problems that they're dealing with right now. Perhaps they are overweight, they don't have a lot of confidence, they're suffering in terms of their mental health. Whatever it is, we need to leverage that to drive people to take action. Trait number 3 was strong, authentic visuals. So what was quite interesting is a lot of the ads that were running for quite a while, they definitely weren't high production, okay? They looked like they were taken on an iPhone by someone with maybe not a lot of camera skills, but what they were doing is they were capturing true, authentic moments. People genuinely training, people genuinely laughing with one another and pushing each other, laughing with the coaches. These are all things that people can emotionally buy into because it is authentic. At the end of the day, people trust people more than they trust businesses. So if we can capture authentic human relationships within our business, that's going to reflect well on the service that we provide. So it just goes to show that if you have a phone with a camera, which I'm sure most of you do, you're going to be able to capture these authentic moments between your members, your trainers, even yourself, and you can use that as paid ads to make people buy in more emotionally to you. Number 4, and this was extremely clear from about 10 or 15 ads, that the ones that were running for the longest had a very clear and simple call to action. They just asked you to do one thing at the end of their ad. So click a button, tap to sign up, text the number, whatever it was very simple language and it was singular instructions. There was not several steps to these call to actions. So don't overcomplicate it, lay it out very clearly, give one singular instruction and make it very, very clear. So things like DM me the word train to start your transformation, fill out the lead form, call the number. It all needs to be very, very simple. And trait number 5 was actually focused on landing pages. So when you click through to an ad, if you go through to a landing page, the landing pages were mobile phone focused. So everything was formatted correctly for a phone and that kind of screen. The actual landing page itself was very decluttered, okay, simple instructions and compelling copy on the landing page. The lead form was very simple, and the main thing was that it loaded fast. If people have to wait more than 3 to 5 seconds for your landing page to load whilst they're trying to fill out a lead information, then once it gets to second 3 or 4, then they've already clicked off and they're carrying on scrolling on Instagram. So the number one thing that you need to focus on is making sure that your landing page is loading as fast as possible. There is actually a statistic that says over 50% of your leads are going to leave your landing page if they have to wait more than 3 seconds for it to load. So by simply improving the load time of your landing page, you could be increasing your conversion rates by over 50%. So look into this and improve your landing page load time if it's over 3 seconds. So I did also notice some things that I would definitely not do in my ads. Okay, so these were things that I saw happen that I thought were probably hurting the performance of their ads. So I'm also going to share these things that you should probably stay away from. Number 1 is generic offers. So we've covered this, basically the opposite of the things that people are doing to make good ads is they're using generic offers, things like book now and get a free trial. This is overused, it's not really an offer. You just need to make sure that you are thinking deeply into your offer, because this is a massive needle mover when it comes to your ad performance. So the second one is no emotional connection. So don't talk about your classes or your equipment, speak about the emotional struggles that your potential customers are going through right now. What problems are they dealing with and what goals do they want to achieve? Focus on that and your ads will start to perform much better. Third is slow or broken funnels. So a lot of the ads that I actually clicked through to, I went to the landing page and either they loaded really slowly, or the offer or the messaging or the branding was completely different to the ad that I just clicked on. And if I was a genuine person trying to become a lead, then I might become confused because there's a different logo or the messaging is different or the offer on the ad isn't the same as the landing page. That's going to confuse me and I'm going to then click off and go elsewhere, because confused minds, they don't buy. So make sure that everything works smoothly, and this ad to funnel, it needs to be a smooth transition. So a lot of people set these things up a while ago and they don't actually go through them themselves for ages, and this is where problems arise. So actually pretend to be a lead and go from your ad to the landing page and see what your follow-up systems are looking like, and actually pretend to be a lead so you can see how you're being dealt with. Number 4 is confusing call to actions. This is fairly simple. Make sure that your call to action is very clear, no several steps, just make it one simple thing that people need to do to turn themselves into a lead. And finally, they were trying to be too clever and not clear. So they were using fancy jargon or metaphors and they weren't being very clear on the message that they were trying to put over to their audience. So you need to remember that you're not trying to create an ad that's going to win you awards. You just need to portray a message in a very clear and compelling way. So clear beats clever. So if your ads aren't performing in the way that you were hoping they would, then it might be because you're missing one of these 5 elements that we found in this research. But the good news is this isn't really rocket science, okay? It's fairly simple stuff. It takes a bit of time, but once it's created and it's implemented, then it's going to pay dividends. So if you found this breakdown useful, then give me a like. And if you're looking for other ways to market your fitness business so you can grow more effectively, then click on the video on the screen now.